Pain surprisingly has got its root in pina. Pina means punishment. So it has always been viewed as a punishment. And it has been one of medical science's most challenging problems, pain. The conquering of pain has always been a big issue since ages, since Hippocrates. And it was only in that brief Hippocratic time that there were some serious attempts to control. But then the control of pain, the treatment of pain went into the domain of the preachers and the priests, because it was always felt that it is because of sin that you get pain as a punishment. This was as far as the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages were concerned. And then I hope I am not boring you with the detailed history, but very surprisingly, we have 1,500 years where no specific research or no specific progress took place in the management. It was only sorcerers, beating up, and all those things. It came up with the discovered nitrous oxide, and then they found out the therapeutic effects of laughing gas. That serious research into pain management started. So this was sometime in the late 1700s, early 1800s. Pain then became a very sought after thing to manage. But needless to say, even today, we cannot say we have done an absolute great job on managing pain, because we are always on the lookout for that one better drug which will help us a little more than the other drugs. Having said this, medicine has had a lot of discoveries which have been path breaking. And just to wake all of you up, because I know you're hungry, I was wondering if I could ask you a quiz, because these people started with a quiz. So I would like to quiz that too, continue that. The British Medical Journal once ran a contest on which is the most important or most fabulous medical discovery. They had given 10 options, including the advent of asepsis, Joe Lister and the asepsis, and Wilhelm Röntgen and the X-rays, and the advent of antibiotics, that is Alexander Fleming and penicillin, and they had given some options. This contest was again held in 2007 to find out which is the most amazing medical discovery. And your guess could be as good as mine, so they made a small criteria. They said that which medical discovery benefited the most number of people. So could anybody give a guess? It's 100 rupees from me for the prize winner. Which was the uncontested winner of this thing? Fine? No. No. No, I'm not. It needn't be a drug. It can be anything. It can be X-ray also. The advent of the discovery of X-rays or analgesics. No. This is just to lighten the mood and get everybody, wake up to get ready for dinner. We are not asking only for you. We are asking for the whole world. Anyway, the uncontested winner, the discovery which benefited the most number of members of humanity, was the discovery of sanitation. The broad pump, which said that this is where the cholera comes from. John Snow, he made that analysis, found out this is the culprit pump. You correct your sanitation and things are going to be all right. It has benefited the maximum number of people even today. So it is the discovery of sanitation is supposed to be, and public hygiene is supposed to be the single most benefiter of medical discoveries for mankind. So this is just by the way. So, but I am to talk on pain management, and we have mankind is still striving in its struggle to control pain. The fact that there are so many drugs to control pain means that there is no effective drug as yet. So we are still in search of that. So etymologically, it is Latin pena, or Old French is peen, and Middle English suffered, inflicted as a punishment for an offense. To the person having a toothache, even if the world is tottering, there is nothing more important than a visit to the dentist. That's what George Bernard Shaw said. So we have our two main challenges for orthopods. We have the orthopod sitting on the right with the arms rolled up. It's a systemic disorder characterized by a chronic inflammatory polyarthritis of unknown etiology. The inflammation is in various organs, and it's a fluctuating, unpredictable prognosis with more than 60% of cardiovascular problems and death. It is complex and multifactorial. Now, what I am going to show you is the same essentially for both rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. What I am going to show is how it causes pain. So you'll have to go through this boring sequence only once. I'm not going to repeat it for osteoarthritis. But what happens is when there are the antigens of the disease, the antigen presenting cells, when they come into contact with macrophages, the macrophages release the inflammatory cytokines, which are the TNF alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and the interleukin 1s, right? Now, what does the interleukin 1 do? The interleukin 1, it actually goes to this place called the interleukin 1 and the cytokines, they go in the plasma, and then they activate the nuclear just give me a minute, I'm getting confused because I think no, I'll just tell you, it's interesting. They have the nuclear factor kappa B. Now, this nuclear factor kappa B is the main mediator of the role of inflammation. So what it does, this nuclear factor kappa B is a transcription factor present in the cells, and if the nuclear factor kappa B does its work, then the inflammation switch is turned on. So what essentially you need to do is, if you can you can hold nuclear factor kappa B, then you can hold inflammation itself. So you have an inactive nuclear factor kappa B, and then it is acted on by IKB, and then it goes into the nucleus, and the inflammatory changes start occurring because the NFKB goes into the nucleus and activates the genes encoding inflammatory mediators. So you have a lot of inducible enzymes, the COX2s, the INOS, etc. They all come and start doing their damage. The resultant effect is the synovitis, the synovial membrane, chondrocytes are destroyed. There is increased activity of CO2 and MMPs, and then there is increased genesis of osteoclasts, which leads to bone erosion. Essentially, even in rheumatoid arthritis, this is the same problem. The same problem of this is the same way the pain is produced. We have DMARDs, which of course have their own problems. Their methotrexate is slow in action, takes several weeks, partial response, and the biologics are so costly, and they are very, very target specific. Having, coming to a dead end, we didn't have any option. And what happens is you always have the grandmother's medicine there in the house, and they say that, oh, this is not going to heal with your allopathic drugs. You take this, and then surprisingly they're better. So I would like to ask the house, how do you react to this? Supposing somebody says, now you don't have a allopathic explanation. So what do? You say that you continue, or you say you don't continue? Yeah, but supposing they do something, they say कि फलानो पाटो बांधियो, लेप बांधियो, ने मटी गयो. So what is your idea on that? What is your take on that? Okay. Yeah, but if it has been coming down the ages, not many people are going to believe you, isn't it? Because if it comes down the ages.
Yeah, but then everybody says so. Every doctor says so. That's right. Then they will change.
But the thing is, how do you know it's wrong also? Because we don't, okay, he doesn't have a clinical trial to prove that this is right. Do you have something to say that it is not? So the answer is, what I feel is, because I was hearing the other day, when I go for my rides or walk, I usually hear those podcasts. They're wonderful, Scientific American podcasts. And then they said that the best way to deal with it is that if a person is benefited, then it is termed anecdotal. And this can form a basis for research. In fact, that's how most of the new drugs are found. They are found on the basis of research or double-blind clinical studies and trials done on established home medicines, folklore medicines, and you come up with the active ingredient and a new drug is formed. So, yeah, whatever it is, I don't know the term for that, but I think it's very logical thinking that you can't say it is wrong, but you can say it may prove this thing of research. Because, sir, though allopathy says that khatashti soja na ave, I am seeing it in my house. My wife is a Gujarati and I am a Kannadiga, but akhi jalai jai if she has khatash and I don't. So it is and allopathy doesn't agree to that, and I care two hoots if they don't agree with that, because it is happening right in front of my eyes. So I think allopathy doesn't have the required proof. Maybe it is a cause, it is a platform, it is a base for research on that. But you can't say it is wrong. It is not wrong. You are seeing it right in front of your eyes. So anyway, so that's how turmeric started getting to be observed. That's how turmeric started getting to be noticed. It's been, it's been paraded too long. Its virtues have been paraded too long and too forcefully for us to ignore. So the allopathic medicine has been forced to sit up and take notice of this, and that's what the molecule I'm going to talk to you about is. It's curcumin. Curcumin is a very, very, pure form of turmeric. The active ingredient of turmeric is curcumin. Why active ingredient of turmeric? Why not turmeric? Because turmeric is very, very less bioavailable. Turmeric absorption is very poor. So that's why turmeric, we are going to talk of curcumin and not of the turmeric. Curcumin, not turmeric. Turmeric is folklore, and it has now been more or less proved to be biologically active phytochemical compound obtained from the rhizomes of Curcuma longa. Now, haven't we used phytochemicals since long? We have used Reserpina, we have used Digitalis, we have used so many of the phytochemicals. This is one of them. We cannot say that it is bullshit. It needs some more in-depth study and scientific study. It goes without saying that the modern medical man will not accept anything without the acid test of a double-blind clinical trial. So it still has to undergo that. Most of the curcumin studies are on phase 1, phase 2. Correct me if I am wrong. We still need phase 3 trials. But the leading institutes in the world are studying curcumin. Mayo has 3 studies going on curcumin. It possesses diverse properties. It is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-proliferative, anti-angiogenic. It can cure everything from common cold to cancers, and the promise of all the new drugs. So what curcumin does, where it affects is that it makes the NF-kB inactive. I think that's enough for us to know. We don't have to go in for all the minor details, but it blocks NF-kB, so the cytokines, inflammatory enzymes are not produced, and you get a reduction in inflammation. You get a reduction in pain. So that's as simple as that. Now, having said this, I have always maintained that as far as painkillers are concerned, we are fairly satisfied with the quality of painkillers. Our problem is the side effects. That's where curcumin scores in the fact that it has very, very less side effects. There are various studies done, curcumin with diclofenac. It has proved more or less, it has decreased the necessity for diclofenac. They have used curcumin on a standalone basis, and that has also helped over a long period of time. They have used curriculum along with ibuprofen, and that has also found that the efficacy is more or less the same, but then the decrease in the dose of ibuprofen is a big plus for the patients. So a combination therapy enhances the action of some of the anti-inflammatory drugs. It decreases the side effects. Safety is generally recognized as safe. There is some minor, there's sometimes some intolerance and some amount of diarrhea that's there, which is very transient. Clinical trials carried out with conventional curriculum have included doses up to 12 grams per day. But what these people are planning to do here in Kerala, I think, is that they're going to attach it to a self-micro-emulsifying drug delivery system so that the bioavailability and the absorption capability increases. The problem with the curcumin is that you need to take it with a lot of fat otherwise, or with black pepper. And that's what we are taught even in the kitchens of India, that you need to put a lot of black pepper along with haldi. So that increases the absorption. So the advantage with the curcumin tablet over the haldi powder is that it is in a self micro emulsifying drug delivery system, which will ensure more of curcumin going into your system than a conventional haldi powder. Curcumin is also used in Alzheimer's disease. In fact, the lower incidence of Alzheimer's disease in India or in Southeast Asia is attributed to the increased amount of turmeric which is taken. Uveitis, irritable bowel syndrome, acne, psoriasis, atherosclerosis, cancers, blah, 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 blah. There's so many things. So let us hope that we have one more wonderful drug to deal with in our armamentarium to deal with pain, and that is a drug which is very, very patient friendly because it's not going to cause a lot of side effects. How much it will bring down the things of NSAIDs, or whether NSAIDs can be done away altogether, remains to be seen, because as I said, there are a lot of trials still pending. The little advantage the drug has is that because it still is classified as a nutraceutical, so it doesn't come under the purview of the FDA 100%. So you have a lot of these available OTC too in the US. So let's make life pain-free, and I think it will be a fresh way to see a new molecule. When O.P. Singh Saab told me that I need to take this lecture, I was a little skeptical because it's a quasi-allopathic, it's not allopathic. But I thought we must open our eyes and be open to this, and if it does pass the acid test of double-blind clinical trial, there is no reason why we should not accept it in our practice, especially when it's going to benefit our patients. And turmeric is a part and parcel in the culture of the Indian way of life. Thank you.